Hello, ladies and gents, and welcome to this last week. It's finals week. You made it. Hooray! I'm so proud of you. Applause, 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 applause. So it's finals week. Here's what we're doing. You have turned in your Project 3 cultural analysis essay. I graded some of those over the weekend. I'm hoping to get the rest of them knocked out, ideally this evening, so that you've got really good feedback and a good idea of where your grade stands. We have a reflective letter due tomorrow, and then an exit essay if applicable. If not, then you're done. Like, that's it. That's all we have this week. You only have to take the exit essay if you did not pass the diagnostic essay. So a passing score on the diagnostic essay was 30 out of 50 points. If you got less than 30 points on the diagnostic essay, you have to take the exit essay. If you got 30 points or higher on the diagnostic essay, you do not have to take the exit essay. Hooray! So if you scored lower than 30 points, and if you have questions about the exit essay, just reach out to me. I'm super happy to help you with it. There is a folder in the modules tab that has all the information you need for the exit essay, the prompt, the readings, some ideas about how to write it. All of that guidance is available for you in the modules tab. So if you scored less than 30 points on the diagnostic essay, please check out all of that information in the modules tab before you get started on the exit essay. For those of you who scored 30 points or higher on the diagnostic, you don't have to worry about any of that. And all you have to do this week is write the reflective letter, which I'm going to talk about now. So the reflective letter is a fun chance for you to look back at our course, what we've learned, and discuss it in kind of a fun way. So let's take a look at that. Look at all the folders we can close, guys. We're done. That's amazing. So here's the folder I told you about, the final timed exit essay. Only have to check that out if you scored less than 30 points. And if you scored less than 30 points, you best to be watching this video, folks. It's going to help you out so much, because you have to pass one of the timed essays in order to pass the class. So if you got less than 30 points, watch the heck out of this video before you try the exit essay. For the reflective letter, I've got lots of information here. Highly recommend that you watch the WPA and Habits of Mind instructional video before you begin writing the reflective letter. This is because the reflective letter will ask you about the WPA and the Habits of Mind, and you won't know what they are unless you watch this video. So watch the video, and then we're going to write the reflection. And here's all of the stuff to help you with that. So as we take a look at our reflective letter, it is a letter in a formal letter style. So you'll have that skill to put under your belt as well, which is fun. It's nice to be able to know how to write a professional letter. So I've got a template for you that shows you how to write a professional letter. They do follow a very strict format. There are points associated with the format, so please make sure you are following the format. And the format is like so: your name, your address, city, state. If you don't want to give me your real address, that's totally fine. Just make one up. The date, and the date is in long form, so it would be June 14th, 2021. My information, dear Professor Wortley. That's called the salutation. It doesn't mean you think I'm a deer or anything like that. It just is the way we open letters. And then we're going to talk about our experiences in English 101. So this letter is a little bit different than a traditional letter, just because I'm asking you to do a metaphor to talk about how you're learning in English 101. So we're going to have a paragraph that introduces your impressions of the quarter and tells me about a metaphor. So you could create a metaphor or a simile, which is comparing two things that are not necessarily the same. And you're going to use that as like the thesis of your reflective letter essay. So you could say something like, my time in English 101 was like a roller coaster. That's our simile. English 101 is like a roller coaster. And then we would say English 101 was like a roller coaster because, like a roller coaster, it had its ups and downs. Sometimes it starts off slow, and then you have a steep climb before you go crashing through your adrenaline rush to the end, or something like that. So that would be your thesis statement. You would create that simile or metaphor. English 101 is like a roller coaster. And then your body paragraphs in the letter are going to be supporting that metaphor or simile. They're going to support your thesis statement. So the next paragraph will talk about your metaphor and similarity and how it connects to your work in Project 1. And you want to make sure you mention Wpa Outcomes and habits of mind, which you need to watch the video to do. So in this paragraph, you're going to talk about Project 1. You could say Project 1 is like when the roller coaster is climbing to the very top of the hill, right? It's kind of slow. You kind of jerk forward. And that's kind of how this project started, because there was a lot of reading. It felt like we were slowly ramping up to something exciting. And then when we got to the essay, it felt like that teetering moment at the top of the drop-off of the roller coaster, because I didn't know how my grade was going to be or something like that. So you talk about your Project 1 experience, but you use the metaphor or simile to kind of frame your discussion. Then you're going to mention the Wpa Outcomes or habits of mind. And so the Wpa Outcomes are what students are supposed to know by the time they finish English 101. And all of that information for you, of course, is in the Modules tab. In the modules, in the Wpa Outcomes and habits of mind, which we can look at here real quick, it's a chance for you to see what kind of firm skills you should have, and then what kind of like softer skills you should have. So the Wpa Outcomes are all about, here we go, metacognition, self-analysis, that kind of stuff to see how we can write. So we want to be able to use our rhetorical knowledge. Rhetorical knowledge means that we can create a compelling argument. You can do that. You did that in a couple projects. You're supposed to be able to read critically and write with critical thinking, which hopefully you've been able to do in your projects as well. Process, you've learned how to write using a process. So we start by reading the prompt and getting background. We start with some discussions, then we do thesis statements and outlines, then we do essay drafts and peer reviews, and then we do the final draft. So that's part of the writing process. That's something else in the Wpa Outcomes that you've learned. And then knowledge of conventions. That's grammar, that's mechanics, that's MLA format. You've been practicing all of that this quarter as well. So in your body paragraphs, you're going to want to mention at least one of those Wpa Outcomes. So in Project 1, I worked to hone my critical reading skills, and you would talk a little bit about that. And then the habits of mind are the softer skills we take away, the skills that hopefully help us not only in English 101, but out in the real world as well. Curiosity, the desire to know more. Openness, a willingness to look at other ideas and other ways of thinking. Engagement, being invested in what we're doing. Creativity, showing off our chops and doing things a little differently. Persistence, when things are hard, did we give up or did we keep working? Responsibility, if something didn't go the way we wanted to, do we take responsibility for it, learn from it, and change it? Flexibility, are we adapting? Are we thinking in new ways? Are we interacting with material in a different way than we have before? And then metacognition, thinking about our own thinking process, which is exactly what this reflective letter is doing. So you would talk about one of these habits of mind in your body paragraph as well. So you would say the habit of mind of curiosity is something I used. I was curious about who murdered Ratchet. You know, that kind of thing. So you're going to talk about all that in your Project 1 paragraph. Then, as you may have assumed, we're going to do it all for Project 2. So you're going to talk a little bit about your metaphor. Say Project 2 is like that big drop on the roller coaster because it felt like this essay came so fast. And then you'd say the Wpa outcome I used was rhetorical skills because I learned how to make a really solid argument. And the habits of mind I used was persistence because this project was so fast. I really had to stick to it and get it done. And that could be your Project 2 paragraph. Project 3, you kind of see how it come together. Project 3, you could say, is like when you're doing those loop-de-loops on the roller coaster. You're like, this thing was a wild ride, but we got it done. And it was such a relief when we came back to the loading dock of the roller coaster to be done at the end of the quarter. And then we talk about our Wpa outcomes that we used, and then our habits of mind that we used. And then finally, in our last paragraph, we're going to discuss the idea of transfer. And transfer is this idea of what skills will you take away from this class that can help you somewhere else. Now, you may not be asked to write all that many essays in the rest of your life. But there will be moments in the rest of your life where you have to think critically about something, or you have to argue something, or you have to, do you kind of get it? You have to persist. You have to keep going when things are hard. So those are the kind of skills that we're working on in this class, that we're honing, that hopefully will transfer and be helpful for you somewhere else, whether it's another class here at CVC, another class at another learning institution, or anywhere else in your life. So think about what skills might help you in real life and give at least one specific example. And then finally close the letter with your overall impression of the class. Did you enjoy the class? Did you like the themes? Was there something in particular that you thought was really good or really not good? This is your chance to be honest and tell me a little bit about your experience in the class. And I'm really looking forward to getting to see how this class worked for you, what you learned, and potentially how we can make it better in the future. So please be honest, be thorough, talk about this in depth. I'm really excited to see your ideas. And that's the reflective letter. If you have any questions about that, let me know. That is the last assignment of this week, unless you have to take the exit essay, and then you're free birds. It has been such a pleasure having you guys in class. Thank you for all your hard work and determination, folks. You've really done a stellar job this quarter, and I'm so proud of all you've accomplished. Have a great summer, and let me know if you have any questions.